All right, what is going on? We are halfway through the 2019-2020 season, or the regular season, with playoffs just around the corner here. And I thought I'm going to make an updated ranking to what I did in like week 2 or 3 or something. So a lot has changed. And teams weren't who I thought they were going to be this year, and some teams that I thought wouldn't do as good were doing pretty good. Like for instance, the Colts. The Colts are pretty high on this list. Originally, I thought they weren't going to do too good without Andrew Luck, but they're doing really good. So I put them a lot higher than what they were. We're gonna definitely start because I want these first couple to not take so long. So I don't want this to be like a hour and a half video. But Dolphins are Dolphins. They're staying here at the bottom. They've had some close games. They were leading 14-0 at half against Pittsburgh just 2 days ago as of this recording. I'm recording this on Wednesday. I'm recording this on Tuesday. So just yesterday. This will go up Wednesday or Thursday. But they're obviously tanking. Probably for Tua. There's not really a lot to say here. Ryan Fitzpatrick is doing a lot better than Josh Rosen, though. So, Bengals are next. They're struggling to even win a game. Whoops. Spoiler. But they're doing better point wise because they can actually put up more points on the scoreboard than the Dolphins. But other than that, they're right there with the Dolphins at the bottom. So and without AJ Green, but I think they should trade AJ Green. I might make another video on that, but I get him out of there. So I know they're saying they don't want to, but I think they should. Then Redskins. They're only up this high because they beat Miami. So that's all I got for them. They stayed in the game against the Vikings. What was that? Was that week 8? I think so. They were in the game with them until halftime, and then Case Keenum went out in the second half. So, but they're 30. So yeah. I swear, I wish the Jets beat the Patriots because I would probably have them at like number 15 or something if they did. Shutting up Dallas fans, which was surprising. And then, and I wasn't the only one because, everyone was talking about how they have a chance against the Patriots because, they beat a team like Dallas. And then they got blown out and just did not look good at all. So I want to put them higher, but I can't. But they're as high as they are because they beat Dallas, and I love that. That's gonna be a memory for the rest of the season. Any Dallas fan I meet, I'm gonna be like, "Yo, how about them Jets?" Then Atlanta. Let's see. Traded Mohamed Sanu. Matt Ryan's out, so Matt Schaub is playing. I don't really have a lot to say about them. They just do not look good at all. But I think they have 2 wins or whatever, so that's why they're this high. But they're just not looking good at all. So that's the Falcons. Steelers. Came back against Miami, which isn't that big. They're struggling. They were on, Mason Rudolph got concussed. Ben Roethlisberger's out for the year, so Mason Rudolph is a starter now. And then I don't even know who that third string guy was, but he was in there for like 2 weeks. So yeah, I don't even know. They're just They're just there. Um, like they're trying to win games, but they can't because they have so many people out and whatnot. So that's all I got. Broncos. I was gonna put them higher, but the way they played against the Chiefs and I don't remember who they played the week before, but they just their offense is terrible. Defense doesn't look as spectacular as they did the first couple weeks of the season. Because I was saying, they're better than what the record shows, but then Joe Flacco sucks. He's not the answer. Get rid of him. Yeah, whatever. He's a Super Bowl champion, probably an MVP, all this other crap. Veteran QB, but he's not playing well at all. So, and then I think then they just lost to the Colts, who Jacoby Brissett didn't throw a touchdown, but their defense caused I think it was roughing the passer or some kind of call, pass interference or something, which set Adam Vinatieri up for game-winning kick just this last week. So they just haven't been playing, that good, and so I put them lower. I think they're lower than what they actually were before when I had them. So next, Cardinals. Kyler Murray's starting to look a little better. They're on a 2-game winning streak, I believe. I think they're like 3-1 right now or something. But all these wins are coming later on in the season. So they're not going to the playoffs this year because the Seattle Rams and Bucks, not the Bucks. 49ers, that's what I meant. 49ers. They're in that division, so they're not going to make the playoffs with all those teams in there. I think Larry Fitzgerald should get traded too. Send him somewhere where he has a chance for a ring, or because I think he doesn't have one. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think he has one. He's been to a Super Bowl, but I don't think he has one. So send him. Don't give him to the Patriots, but send him like I don't know. I honestly don't know. But before his career's up, I think he would want a ring. So, Chargers. I probably could have put them lower, honestly. But they beat the Bears last week. So they haven't won a game in a while. And Melvin Gordon is not running well. Phillip Rivers is throwing okay. He's not putting up like MVP stats or anything, but he's throwing okay. They only beat the Bears because the Bears still don't have a kicker. But they have potential, and they just fired. I think it was a coach they just fired this week. So we'll see what happens on the rest of the season with them. So they have potential. Obviously, every team below them, below the Chargers, has potential too. For all we know, Arizona could make the playoffs. Broncos. Well, what are the Broncos like? 2-5, I think. I don't even know. But they all could technically make the playoffs. It's just, I think the Chargers would. Well, no, they're in the same division as Kansas City. Maybe not. But we'll see. We'll see what happens the rest of the season. Browns definitely went way down. I think this is like 20 or 22 or something like that, I want to say. Maybe a little lower, but they're overhyped. And on paper they have a really good team, but they just Freddie Kitchens isn't the answer for QB for coach. Baker's got to settle down. He's got to step up, take more leadership. Um, hopefully Odell doesn't, jump ship now. So I don't know. We'll see if they can get their act together in the second half of the season. Obviously, they just lost to the Patriots. Pretty bad. And the score doesn't say it all because they had 3 consecutive turnovers, 2 fumbles, and an interception back to back to back on 3 consecutive drives. So they're not looking hot. And they're a little overhyped. So they're this low because of that. I want to put them higher. And on paper they should be higher, but they're not executing. They're disorganized. Everyone's on their own page, so it's not looking good for them. So, Giants, they have a lot more potential, and I think putting Daniel Jones, he's been the best thing. He was in a shootout with Matthew Stafford just this past week. Then I think they won the previous 2 before that, I believe. I want to say they're like a 500 team right now, or like 3-4 or something. Oh no, sorry, that would be yeah. I think they've had a bye already, so I think they're like a 500 team right now. They're in what? Dallas, Eagles, and Redskins. So it's trash. It's a trash division right now. It's open to anyone. So they could. Daniel Jones could surprise us the second half of the year. He's a lot better than what people give him credit for. And Saquon Barkley's finally back. So they're starting to get pieces back together. So hopefully, hopefully they can make a push for a wild card spot or something. Because the teams that I have at top are most likely going to make the NFC take the top spots for the NFC. But there's some of these lower teams, have a really good chance of making playoffs. And I'm not going to say Giants have an amazing chance, but I think they have an okay chance, depending on how the Eagles and Dallas do, and if the Giants can step up. So we'll see. Then we have the Raiders. John Gruden is definitely pushing them in a good direction. Derek Carr is making a lot of mistakes. Like fumbling, not holding on to the ball, and fumbling out of the back of the end zone. Some throws and whatnot. Jacobs he's a really good runner. And they got a good running back. But they just don't have the wide receiver depth right now. And their defense is okay. So we'll see. We'll see how the rest of the year goes. Obviously, with Patrick Mahomes out a couple weeks, if Oakland can make a push to win next couple of games, if Patrick Mahomes isn't back by next week, it's rumored he'll be back by week 10, so 2 weeks. And he could come back next week against Minnesota when the Chiefs play Minnesota next week. But I think the Raiders have a chance to push if they can win these next 2 weeks. Push for that spot against Kansas City. I'm sure Mahomes is going to come back with fire in his eyes. So now's the time before the Chiefs start breaking away. So we'll see how they can do. I do like John Gruden, and I think he's a really good coach. And I like what he's doing. It's taken a couple years to build up, but I think eventually they could be a really good team. They might be like a playoff bound team every year in a couple of years. They give them 2-3 years, and I think they could be as successful as the Patriots. Obviously, no one is going to be because Bill Belichick really knows what he's doing, and he's got them. Every year they're basically going to the playoffs guaranteed. So, but Raiders have a chance down the line to do that in a couple of years, especially if Tom Brady's If he is rumored to retire after this year, we'll see. I'm definitely gonna make a video on that too. I'm just kind of waiting to see if any more information comes out or whatnot. But you know, if Brady retires, it leaves the door open for all of AFC. So yeah, so hopefully, Bucks, Jameis Winston, cut him right now. Just get rid of him. Godwin, Evans, you know, you got wide receiver depth. And I think they're running backs, the first string running backs name. But you know, if you can find a better QB, I think they can be a really good team. I think the Bucs can be a really good team. Jameis Winston has thrown so many picks, and it's just crazy. But he still doesn't beat Baker Mayfield. But they're as high as they are because, you know, their receiving core is really good. And I think Godwin is either a rookie or a second year. He's picking up steam. Evans is doing really good. So yeah, their defense is good. They're okay, good. You know, there's a couple more pieces there, and they could, you know, honestly be a really good team. So, Titans are in the middle of the pack because I never know how to pick them. You know, I don't pick them and they win, and then, you know, I'll pick them and they don't win, and it's hard to predict what they're gonna do. Obviously, Marcus Mariota got benched in week 6 or 7. And Ryan Tannehill's QB now, starting QB now. So I don't know what to say about them because, you know, they're right in the middle of the pack, right where I have them. And I don't know. They're just a team. You know, not a lot going on, and they're winning games, they're losing games, so it's I don't really know what to say about them at all. So that's that's why they're in the middle here. So Jags, obviously Nick Foles went out week 1. Gardner Minshew definitely has stepped up. Leonard Fournette is finally stepping up again. And then the receivers are, you know, they're stepping up too. So they could push for a wild card spot. I don't know how challenging the rest of their schedule is, but I feel like they have the pieces there if they could. Obviously, Ramsey is gone. He's in the with the Rams now, so you know, you lose him. But I mean, it's not like your defense is really doing any worse without Ramsey. So they could. I have them up, you know, kind of middle here because they're losing some games they should be winning. But you know, they played against a Teddy Bridgewater led Saints, and only let them score 13. They did lose the game, but the defense held them. So I guess they could be up a little higher. Because, you know, the Saints are that good, and now with Drew Brees back, you know, I think that makes the Saints much better. But you know, they held in there, but offensively they couldn't do a lot against, you know, a real defense, you know, a real good, probably top 5 defense that Saints team is. So that's why they're here. They have the pieces. If they can all, you know, put them in place, I think they can push for a wild card. Yeah, for a wild card spot. In the playoffs, so hopefully see that. You know, I am kind of a Jags fan. I've been watching, you know, them since Maurice Jones-Drew, so you know, it was fun watching them go in the AFC Championship. I really think they should have went to the Super Bowl that year, but they lost to the Patriots. Shocker. So yeah, so that's where the Jags are. Buffalo Bills. Their offense is terrible, but they still have a really good defense. They still have a really good defense, and that's why they're so high, is because they held Tom Brady to 13 points, and they picked them off, and I think that's only like 1 of 5 picks or something. Tom Brady has not thrown that many picks this year. Obviously, Their offense, Josh Allen is just he's not playing well at all. And I think if I think like the Bills are one of maybe a handful of teams that can go up against the Patriots and challenge them. Obviously, it was early in the year, and they only lost by what was it, 6 points? I think it was 16-10. So if they can get going on offense, I think they can beat the Patriots. Obviously, I think the Chiefs can beat the Patriots. Maybe the Texans. I think possibly Indy. So I think there's only a handful of teams that can challenge the Patriots, and I do think the Bills are one of them. But they have to get better on offense. Josh Allen has to stop, throwing bad throws. Calm down because he scrambles a lot. So I want to put him higher, and I would love to put him higher. And I have a feeling that they could make a playoff spot. They're obviously not going to beat the Patriots this year, at least. Again, if Brady does retire next season or the season after, that opens up the door for, the Bills, Miami. If they come out really good next year with Tua, who they're probably going to pick up, unless shocker, something else happens or something. But I think this is the best team in that division right now that can beat up on the Patriots. I wish the Jets did, but the Jets are the Jets. So that's where the Bills are. I'm hoping by the end of the year they'll be higher. So Eagles. You're looking strong. You beat up on my Packers. And then, you lose to the Lions, though. You lost convincingly to Dallas, but, Dallas lost convincingly to the Packers. So, I mean, I don't know what's going on. Obviously, you're plagued with injuries, so many injuries for the Eagles. And I don't think they had a first-string secondary against Dallas, so there's that. But I think, what was it, last week I believe they had a bye. No, they played the Bills last week. I don't know if they've had a bye yet. But I think, hopefully if you get Sean Jackson back soon, he'll really help the team. But they're kind of up here because, I think they have a chance of taking their division. But we'll see. But next, Dallas is right above them. I think, Eagles and Dallas are right there neck and neck. I only have Dallas above because they did beat the Eagles pretty convincingly 2 weeks ago at the time of this recording, which would be... I think it was week 6, I believe. Could be week 7. But Dak he's playing okay. Zeke isn't playing the best. He's getting stopped by, above 500 teams. They play good against bad teams, except for the Jets. They just got mollywopped by the Jets. So, but besides that, they don't have a strong schedule than first half of the season. I believe they have the Patriots coming up, Minnesota coming up, the Bears, who we'll see about the Bears. But the first half of the schedule was pretty weak, minus the Packers and the Saints, who both beat them. Granted, the Saints didn't score a touchdown, but they didn't have Drew Brees, and I think if they had Drew Brees, I think they would it would have been a bigger gap for score. So I don't know. We'll see. I think they have as good a chance of winning the division as the Eagles do. Oops, wrong way. And I could see either of these teams taking the top spot. We'll see. Obviously, I think they play. Is it week 15 or week 16? They play again, so that could very well decide top spot, unless the Giants come out of nowhere, but not likely to happen. So, then we got Baltimore Ravens, who Lamar Jackson is scrambling, setting records, scrambling and whatnot. I would like them higher, but they lost to the Browns. And they made the Browns look like a good team because they lost pretty convincingly to the Browns. Even though I think they brought it back at the end, but it didn't even really matter because it was such a big gap. But they play the Patriots Week 9 coming up next Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday night they play the Patriots. So hopefully they'll give them the first L of the season. And if they do, I think I would probably put the Ravens probably in the top 10. But when you lose to a team like the Browns, who is struggling a lot, and I don't know. I think they've only lost 2 games. I don't know who else they lost to, but I want to put them higher, but I can't because they started out slow. Obviously, these last 2 games they've been picking it up. I don't even remember who they played last week. They could have had a bye. I don't even know. But if Lamar Jackson, obviously he's still a dual threat. That defense is still good. So we'll see about them. Then I have the Bears. They're not in the top 10. I think they're close to the top 10 though. Their defense is looking. They're slowing down already. I still think they're maybe a top 10. But the offense is just killing them, and I think it's getting to the defense. And I think the defense is starting to say, hey, we can't carry you. We can't carry the team. Right now they're at the bottom of the barrel. They're in the basement in the North, in the NFC North. And it's toughest division in football. I still got to make a video on that. Obviously, NFC North is going to be number 1. But when you're in a tough division with, the Vikings are a game behind the Packers who lead the North. The Lions should technically be in first place if it wasn't for 2 phantom hands to the face masks, hands to the face calls. So Lions are gonna bounce back. Obviously, Packers are gonna go down there week 16, I believe, and face them. So you gotta step your game up. Mitch Trubisky, I don't even want to say he's okay. He's just, yeah. I'm struggling for words for this. They've got to start running David Montgomery more. I think he's really good. He tears up defenses whenever they do hand him the ball. But they don't do that a lot. And then, on kicking, Eddie, I always forget his last name. The kicker, Eddie, missed it. He missed the game-winning kick against the Chargers, and the Chargers aren't even that good. They should have won that game, but, bad kick is bad kick, so, they lost it. Cody Parkey curse is still there, but they got a lot of work to do, especially on offense. Oh, my God. I don't even know how to... I got nothing for them. Let's just move on. this is either 10th or 11th here. Rams, they started out slow. Almost lost to the Browns, lost to the Seahawks because of a missed kick. And then they started picking up about week 5. Or, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think it was about week 5. And, they got Gurley back in week 6. And I think they've won ever since the Seattle game. I think they've won. They're definitely pushing again. But, Seattle's better. 49ers, oh boy. I doubted them, but they're, you beat a really good Panthers team. And you're slowing down Christian McCaffrey. So, I don't know if the Rams can even make the playoffs because the division just got so good. Obviously, they acquired Ramsey. I don't remember who else they acquired, but their defense is still pretty good. Excuse me. And we're only halfway through. There's still another season, or another half of season to go. So we'll see what happens from here. So that's all I got for them. We'll see. It's just a winning game for them. Panthers. Kyle Allen's been pretty good. I don't know if they're gonna start Cam Newton again. I think they're still talking about that. Christian McCaffrey is obviously in discussion for MVP. And they're Kyle Allen is 5-1 as a starter. They lost pretty convincingly to the 49ers just this past week or past Sunday in week 8. So they would be a top 10, but when you lose by like 40 to San Francisco, you're kind of just right outside there. Obviously, I think they still could make the playoffs. They still have a chance. They're not out. But I think you keep Kyle Allen, keep him going. I think you trade away Cam Newton. So that's all I got. I believe this is number 10. So Lions. Yeah, Matthew Stafford. I guess we'll start there. Still underrated. They fought hard against the Giants. This past week, week 8, and they should have won against the Packers. Should have won. They had a chance to win against the Chiefs too. I mean, when you hold Mahomes to 0 touchdowns, I mean, you should have won that game. But that game came down to the wire. So I think they're a real team, and it's gonna be either them or the Vikings for that second spot. I still think the Packers are gonna run away with it because of how good Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, how good that offense is doing. That defense, they're getting better. Each week they're getting better. So, but I think, if you're the Lions, you're racing to catch up to the Vikings, to beat the Vikings. I believe they play them in like week 10 or 11 or something like that. So, I think it'll... Oh, no, they just played them. I'm sorry, they just played them, was it 2 weeks ago, I believe, and they lost. So, hopefully they can bounce back. So, we'll see. And that defense, they traded away, I think it was Quentin Diggs, I believe was his name. And I guess he's probably their best cornerback they had, and they traded him away. So, I don't know what they're doing. So, but moving on. Here's the Vikings. Dalvin Cook is still a monster. He's still tearing up defenses and whatnot. Kirk Cousins, and you know, they're playing like 500 and below teams, and you know, obviously they're gonna look good when they do that. And you know, they lost to the Packers, who are above 500. Who else did they lose to? I'm gonna pull that up. But their defense, I think the defense is still good. You know, you got a lot of good playmakers on that defense, and you know they're keeping up with the Packers in first, and you know they're gonna try to make a run for them. So they obviously have the Chiefs coming up in Week 9 here next week. So that'll be a tough game. Oh, they lost to the Bears, the Packers, the Bills. Oh, I'm sorry, that was preseason. So they've only lost to the Packers and the Bears have gone downhill since. But you know they could very well lose the Chiefs next week. You know they have Seattle coming up, and then obviously you know Packers, Bears, and Lions again later in the season. So we'll see how well they do. I don't want to jump and say Kirk Cousins is amazing yet, because you know their October was pretty good, pretty weak. They played all below 500 teams. Even the Lions were technically 500 when they first because they lost to the Packers. So we'll see how their November and December turns out. So then this one's a little bit of a shocker. I have the Chiefs in 7th or 8th here, and you know it's really because you know Mahomes went out. He's going to be out for a couple weeks. That defense is still, they're looking okay. They're not looking the best. I mean, obviously you still have a lot of weapons: Sammy Watkins, Tyreek Hill, LaShawn McCoy. I mean, you still have weapons on offense. And Matt Moore, I got to give credit to him because, you know, he played very well against the Packers. And obviously, you know, they destroyed the Broncos, but the Broncos aren't that good. So, I mean, that you can't really measure Matt Moore off of that game. But, you know, a team like the Packers, I think he played pretty good against. He held them in the game. So, you know, if Mahomes was healthy, I don't know I think, you know, they could have won that game. You know, if he wasn't out for a couple weeks, I think he could. You know, I think, you know, they would probably beat up on the Vikings too. Tennessee. I think they have the Patriots coming up later this year. I don't think they played them yet, but I think they have them coming up later this year. But I do think they're still going to make the playoffs. They're still only a 2-loss team so far this year. So, you know, they still have the pieces. And they're all there. It's just, you know, Mahomes has to make sure he's healthy. I mean, you don't want him to come back too early and then all of a sudden he aggravates his knee again and then he's out for the rest of the season. So, you know, make sure he's healthy before you put him back in. But until then, I think, you know, Matt Moore, I think he can do the job of holding the team together and, you know, keeping them in the playoff picture. So, then we do have the Seattle next. Russell Wilson is still playing really good. And that their defense is still pretty good. They're probably a top 10 defense too. besides Russell Wilson, DJ Metcalf, Tyler Lockett's still playing good, but I still think they have some weaknesses, and they almost lost to the Browns too, and they very well could have if the Browns were able to finish a game. Obviously, they lost pretty convincingly to Baltimore. So we'll see how they bounce back, because I believe they had a bye last week. We'll see how they bounce back in the second half of the season. Obviously, Russell Wilson's an MVP contender, and an MVP contender. So we'll see what happens later on in the season, and everything. So moving on, Texans, Deshaun Watson doing really good. He got kicked in the face. I think it was kicked in his left eye, and still made a pass for a touchdown. They're firing on all cylinders on offense. DeAndre Hopkins, obviously. I do not remember their running back, but I think they have a pretty good running back. They have us to beat the Chiefs. I don't remember where I have them, but they obviously beat Indy. And I guess I could have had them up higher than Indy here. But I think they're really good. I think they do have a chance of beating the Patriots if it comes down to it. I don't know if they play them in the regular season in the second half of the year. So we'll see if they do. That could be a preview of the AFC Championship game, or some, one of the playoffs games. So we'll see. Defense, they're looking pretty good too. I don't really have anything else to say. I think they're a really good team, and I think they have pretty good hopes of making the playoffs and doing really good. So we'll see. Okay, here's Indy, and you can flip flop them because they're about even too. Jacoby Brissett, obviously, he's destroyed all the critics, all the haters that said he couldn't fill in for Andrew Luck. He's done that. T.Y. Hilton, I believe it was him who made the amazing one-handed catch in the back of the end zone. I could be wrong. That defense is still pretty good. I believe this is number 5, by the way. But I think they have a really good chance of versing a team like the Patriots and being on par with them, if not beating them. So we'll see. I would love to see that game. If they do play later in the season, or if they play in the postseason playoffs. So we'll see. But I think they're a really good team, and I love watching Jacoby Brissett. So now this is number 4. Yes. So Colts are number 5. Texans are 6. Patriots are number 4. And, everyone hypes them up and says they're, this amazing team. But you haven't played anyone. You've played 500 and below teams. Everyone calls their defense really good. They're carrying the offense. I mean, that offense is banged up, but they're literally carrying the team. They're carrying the offense. Brady's showing his age a little bit. So, it's resting on the defense. And, they played the Jets, the Bills are pretty good. And they did. The Bills' offense isn't that good, but Tom Brady was held to 16 points, or it might have been 17, against the Bills' defense. And like I said before, it's one of the few times he's been picked off this season. So they're against a good defense. They're not playing, top level. They're just lucky that that the Bills' offense isn't that good, or they would have lost that game. And, they would have had a loss week, 4 or whatever. So, personally, facts show when you play, a really easy schedule, when you don't play any good teams, you have Miami twice, you have the Jets twice, you played against Washington already. This is all, low in the rankings, teams. And against, like I said, again, with the Bills defense, I mean, if teams can hold Brady to like 17 points and whatnot, that's good. That's really good. And that just shows you that, like, they have not played a good team because the offense, they're just not good against the real defense. So they're number 4 on the list because they are not, they're not firing on all cylinders, and that defense is literally carrying them. And, they're still undefeated because they haven't played a real team. They play, they're going to play the Ravens this Sunday. So that'll be a good test against, Lamar Jackson in that offense. I believe you have the Chiefs coming up. Here, let me pull up the schedule real quick. I believe you have the Chiefs. Let's see here. Okay, well, you have Dallas and Eagles, and then so then you go Texans on December 1st, and then December 8th. You have the Chiefs, and then the Bills. Week 16. That could honestly, if they don't lose against the Ravens, the Texans, the Chiefs, I think that Bills team is going to be hungry, and I think they're going to, lose against the Bills that week 16. Especially if Brady and that offense keeps playing the way they are, I think they could very well lose. Obviously, week 17 Dolphins, it's not like there's going to be another miracle. So they're going to win against, Dolphins. And, it's not all the Patriots' fault because, they have a really sucky division. Yeah, I mean, the Bills, they're not the best. I mean, the Jets, you had a one fluke against Dallas, and, the Dolphins are tanking. So it's not that good of a division. So that's why they're number 4. The Patriots fans are going to say, oh, number 1, blah, blah, blah. No, they're not because they haven't played any good teams. So until they did, let me know. Let's see how good they do. Number 3, Packers. Because, they played Minnesota, Detroit, who was pretty good, the Bears, who were good earlier in the season, and then they've had games against the Broncos and the Raiders. I mean, so they're okay teams, and then you just went in to Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs, granted without Patrick Mahomes, but it's still a win. So I mean they went into Arrowhead, and so they've proven that they can face real teams. So, that's why they're above. That's why these top 3 teams are above the Patriots, is because they've proven. They have proven that they can verse a real team and beat a real team. The Patriots have not yet. And obviously their first test comes next Sunday. The time I'm recording this, week 9. I'll say week 9 will be the Patriots' real test. But the Packers have already had their real tests and proven that they can handle. So, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, put him in that MVP race. Definitely. He's got to be. I mean, the throws he's making. And, he's got a running game now. Aaron Jones is good. Jamal Williams. And, we're doing all this without Adams. Now, granted, Patriots put Josh Gordon on IR, and they're missing a couple key receivers and whatnot. But Edelman is like that top guy in New England for wide receiver wise, and I mean he's their best receiver. Devontae's out, and the Packers are still doing as good as they are. And they technically should have won against the Eagles, but I'm not going to talk about that. But they technically could have won that game. They technically should have had a loss against the Lions, but they didn't, and a whole controversy on that. I did make a whole video on that, which is up on my channel. And I spent most of it talking about the refs and whatnot. So, but they're number 3, because they've shown they can be a real team. So, number 2, San Francisco, the only undefeated team in the NFC. They finally versed Carolina Panthers, who I think are a real team. Because when you have a good running game, and then Kyle Allen was undefeated until I think were they home or they going to Carolina? I don't remember. But they beat up on Carolina badly. They put up 50 on them, so I think they're a real good team. Obviously, I would have number 1 if, and I don't know if it's obvious or not, which it probably is. But the number 1 team, they're starting to finally get complete now. So we'll see. I think they can do really well. But their defense, their front 4, front 5 are really good. Jimmy Garoppolo is really good. They have a good running game. Wide receivers are getting there. They're proving that they're real. And that more and more every week. And I'm finally starting to see it. I didn't see it because they didn't verse too many good teams before. When you put up 9 points on the Redskins, granted weather conditions was really bad, but they only put up 9 points on the Redskins, so it's just like, okay, well, are they real or not? And then they come up and put 50 on the Panthers, so I think they're real. And I think as good as the Packers are, I think San Francisco's better. I think number 1 is better. And I think that they might be the number 1 seed in the NFC. And it looks like they're most likely gonna make the playoffs. So, but there is one more team that's better, and that is the New Orleans Saints. I think they are the best team in football right now. Obviously, they just got Drew Brees back. And before that, Teddy Bridgewater was undefeated. I think 5-0, 6-0 or something. As the starter. And I really think Brees getting injured was a blessing in disguise for them. And Alvin Kamara was out for a couple weeks, or I think it was 2 weeks. And they obviously were doing good without him. And that defense is scary. That's a really good defense. They're probably top 5, top 3. They have weapons everywhere. You got Kamara back, you got Breeze back, and they're hungry for a Super Bowl, another one. Obviously, they got robbed last year, and they may not get the number 1 overall seed in the NFC, but they're most likely going to get 2 or 3. That's how good they are. Unless San Francisco loses 2 or 3 games in the second half of the season, I don't think they're going to drop out of that. Probably like 4 to 6 games they would have to lose. But I don't think that they're going to drop out of that number 1 seed. So I think Saints are going to have to settle with number 2. But, they're going to be hungry for a Super Bowl. Obviously, Saints are hungry. San Francisco's going to be, hopefully they do really good and hopefully they don't fall apart. Green Bay, they're most likely going to the playoffs too, especially because now they have a defense and a running game. Patriots are most likely going to see in the playoffs. Colts, Texans, Seattle probably with the wild card. Chiefs, I think, are hungry again. But I think with with everything the Saints has, I think they're probably a Super Bowl contender right now. And, you know, I think San Francisco is too. I think Packers are. Obviously, Patriots most likely are because of the AFC. But I think, you know, with Drew Brees back, he put, was it 34 points up on the Cardinals. And the Cardinals, they're not terrible. But, I mean, their defense isn't the best. So, but, you know, Drew Brees coming back and just throwing, you know, really good passes. You know, they're getting downfield and whatnot. And they're picking apart defenses. So, you know, I think, you know, the playoffs, the NFC playoffs are going to be really tight. And I'm probably going to make a video on that. We'll probably make an AFC video too. But it's probably going to be the Patriots and the AFC. Yeah. Because it's not really too many teams right now that can go up against the Patriots in the AFC. But, you know, there's a lot of teams in the NFC right now that are top notch right there. And a lot of them are there with the Saints. But I just think, you know, the Saints just have the most, I don't want to say weapons, but like the best chance of going to the Super Bowl because of what happened, you know, last year. They're still bitter about that. You know, they're just looking like a really good team. So, but that's my rankings. Obviously, let's go through the top 10 here. So, Saints, San Francisco 2, Packers 3, Patriots 4, Colts 5, Texans 6, Seattle 7, Kansas City 8, Vikings 9, and then Lions 10. And then the rest here with the Dolphins here at the bottom. But that's my rankings for week 8. I'm going to come back. I'll probably end up waiting until the end of the season, probably week 16. Maybe I'll come back when the first team gets, like, clinches a playoff spot. Maybe I'll come back and do a video then. So maybe like week 16 or 15. Obviously, I think, you know, Saints will probably clinch before that. San Francisco will probably clinch. Packers will probably clinch before that. And probably Patriots. I don't know about the rest of these teams here. But, you know, I think, you know, top 4 have good chance of clinching by probably week 15. They'll probably clinch a playoff spot. So, this video is already long enough. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. And we're out of here. Peace.